So, since starting my newest project, I've been making some textures. The first texture I made was a dirt texture, which turned out pretty damn well. Unfortunately, this dirt texture was literally too good. It didn't look right when compared to the grass or the background. In fact, it looked as if I'd stolen it from another better game, which, for the record, I haven't. It's pretty sad. The one time I make something which actually looks decent, I can't even use it because it looks too decent for my own abilities. Even at that, it's not exactly revolutionary. It's just a standard dirt texture which doesn't look like a literal 4-year-old made it. I've saved it for later, but for now I've decided to replace it with a slightly more flat texture. This one looks alright, but the primary thing is that it fits with the rest of the game. The background and the clouds are both very flat with little in the way of detail, and I've removed the third shade from the grass. I'm not sure if the grass is finished yet, but I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. I suppose the moral of this story is a testament to the importance of consistency over raw fidelity. In other news, this is the first time I programmed my own force integrator since I was having problems with friction allowing the player to stick to walls using Godot's built-in integrator. It was actually easier than I expected, since a lot of what I wanted to do is pretty intuitive. I had to steal a bit of code that determines if the player is touching the ground from one of the platform demos, but apart from that I was able to figure it out easily enough. Besides, I did my research, and now at least I understand what the code means. Also, try not to think about my implementation of variable jumping heights too hard. It'll probably be a bit upsetting to anyone who knows how to do it better. Basically, if the player presses the spacebar, they jump. It increases their vertical velocity by a factor of jump height. Nothing tricky here. However, if they release the spacebar, it triggers the input event function which sets a flag. If this flag is enabled, the player falls twice as fast as they would usually fall. Once the player touches the ground, this flag is reset for the next jump. It's a bit more convoluted. Also, I implemented some kind of rubbish pathfinding algorithm. Basically, and oh boy, you're in for a ride here, it detects which floor of the map that the player and an enemy is on. If the player is on a different floor to the enemy will run either to the left or the right, depending on where the entrance is. From there, I just let the AI jumping mechanics take the reins, and hopefully it reaches the appropriate floor. There are some massive restrictions with this method. First of all, if I ever make more than 2 floors, then I'm a bit fucked, although I can adapt to this method. Secondly, the route between the floors will have to be at the very end of the map, otherwise the AI will just keep going and miss it. I don't expect that I'm going to leave this algorithm as it is, because it really is quite awful. However, I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, because I cannot be bothered to wrestle with pathfinding just yet. And that more or less wraps this video up. I haven't done as much as I'd like to, since I've had to divide a lot of my attention to exams. And, you know, game development, exams, it's difficult to do both of them. And I have a lot of videos planned, so there's that. Anyway, I hope this wasn't super boring for you. I still hope you're not one of the people who follows my channel under the false pretense of it being about tutorials, because it still isn't. I'm still really worried that some people are expecting more tutorials. I mean, you'll probably get more tutorials. Maybe not soon, but, you know, just keep it in mind. Just saying.